in the pasture, run 'em in the pen, work 'em on the Sundays, do it all again. Race 'em in the sand, buck 'em in the mud, drip a cowboy's sweat, bleed a cowboy's blood.
I'm Zeke Thurston, 2016 World Champion Saddlebrock Rider, and you're watching the Pepper Stewart Show.
Yeah, he told you that because that's what you're doing. You're watching. I don't know why you are, but you're doing it. I don't know. You know, we've flipped and flopped and rotated all around the town, all around the country, from place to place. Stuff's always going on, though. We're always keeping you up to date with what's going on around the town, around the state, and around the world, because we are worldwide. That's how we roll. That's how we roll over here. So anyway, a lot of stuff's happened over the last time we visited with you folks. The Global Cup, PBR's Global Cup happened, and I tell you what, that was a great showing, a great event right there. It was pretty good. We got some stuff from that we're going to throw at you. We've got a couple of interviews that we did. They're not going to be live. We're not going to do them live like we normally do. These are some pre-recorded interviews. Actually, there were some pre-recorded conversations, and they were some really, really interesting conversations, and it was tough. It was really tough to condense these down, to condense these down to about a 10-minute conversation. I mean, it was tough. It was real tough to do, to get that done, but we were able to do it, and we're going to bring it to you. We visited with Catherina all the way from Ireland. She's a 5th-generation cattlewoman, cattle rancher. Going to visit with her. And then we've also got Hollis McCollum, which is an author over here in Georgia in the US of A. She wrote a book called To Save a World. And I visited with her, just kind of talk about some stuff. So that's what we did. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We got some good stuff lined up. That's all I can tell you. Some good stuff for you. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, you do. If you don't, well, you watched the wrong show. Wherever you're watching us at, there's probably anywhere from 50 to 100 episodes that you can burn your eyes at and aggravate your neighbors while you watch. So it's always good stuff. But I think what we'll do is we're going to dive off into the Global Cup, because we got some great stuff for that deal. So we're gonna dive off into that here in a second. Because the Global Cup was here in the U.S., which it was the first time that it's been held on U.S. soil. It was here in Texas at AT&T Stadium. The first time it's been in the USA, and it's coming back next year in 2020. It's going to be here again. So if you didn't go out this last weekend before last, depending on when you're checking this out, but if you missed it, you got the opportunity to do it again, because they're going to do it again in 2020. Now, for those of you that know, J.B. Mooney was out with an injury. He's been, I guess, the last year or so, injury's been fighting him. It's been fighting him. It's tough. He's a great guy, great rider. Rode a lot of good bulls for a long time. Injuries happen. They happen. They're catching up with him, and he was out. So they brought in Hired Gun, which it's kind of controversial, kind of a controversial move that happened, but it happened anyway. They brought in Sage Kimzey as the alternate for Team USA to take J.B. Mooney's place. A lot of folks were some were upset, some were happy. We're glad to see Sage representing the U.S. in the Global Cup, and some were saying, well, he's not a PBR bull rider. He's not a regular on PBR Tour. Why is he here? Why are we passing up a regular USA bull rider to give Sage Kimzey a chance? Well, Sage Kimzey is a 5-time PRCA world champion, so that speaks for itself. And as far as Sage goes, if you get the call from either Jess McBride, J.W. Hart, call you and say, hey, I need you to come ride some bulls, he's not gonna say no. He's Sage Kimzey. That's what he does. So anyway, Sage showed up, and for round number 2, because first night out, Jess Lockwood busted his collarbone. If you didn't see it, Look it up. Pop that sucker out. Anyway, Sage came in the next night, and Sage just did what Sage does. And, he put it on Pure Gangster for 87 and 3/4. And, I don't know, just a good ride. So let's check this out. Let's check it out. See what you think about that. Let's see what's going on here. Come on, Sage. Where's he at? There he is. Look at that. Talk about textbook. That's what he does. That's Sage Kimzey. That's why he is a 5-time world champion. Shows up, rides the bull, says, all right, did it. That's my job. That's what I do. So great ride right there by Sage. I'm going to throw it back one more time in slow-mo. What we got here? I'm going to slow-mo it one time. Team USA is happy. They're glad to see the ride, and, the bull come out, turn back into his hand, and done deal right there. It's almost like a day off. Almost like a day off for Sage, but not. But, that's what he does. Anyway, that was a great ride for Sage Kimzey. Team USA was right there. I mean, they were so close, but getting it done again was Team Brazil. Team Brazil, well, they won again, and one of the guys that really put on a show for them was none other than Jose Vitor Leme, and that kid can ride. Let's take a look at one of his rides right here. Here we go. Biker Bob just puts it on him. Look at that. Textbook. Google Ride a Bull. There it is. Jose getting it done right there. So anyway, he did it not once but twice. Put it on 2 of them. And then what happened after that? Done deal. PBR. Brazil. Won the Global Cup again. So what I did was I went back and had a little conversation with Jose through another great bull rider, Paulo Krimber, translating. So let's see what Jose had to say.
Ele falou assim que o que você fez nesses últimos anos foi uma coisa muito impressionante, né? Como competidor, como atleta, todo mundo que tem a vontade de ser competidor, eu acho que se espelha em você hoje, da sua trajetória em pouco tempo, o tanto que você conseguiu se sobressair, né, na sua carreira. Então, como você se sente hoje? Qual a importância de você estar hoje fazendo parte dessa vitória, né, de ser campeão hoje aqui pelo time, entre um time e todo mundo junto?
Acho que isso é um sonho que está se realizando. Toda vitória, eu acho que a gente é sempre bem-vinda. Quem não quer ganhar? E por tudo que eu passei para chegar até aqui, hoje eu sou muito grato a Deus por tudo que Ele me proporcionou até aqui, por todas as vitórias, por todas as derrotas também, que serviu de aprendizado para eu conseguir chegar até onde eu estou hoje. Então eu me sinto muito feliz por mais essa conquista, por ter conseguido ajudar a minha equipe, e só tenho a agradecer.
It's a great feeling to be part of something this big, to another win. Every win you can get, it's always a good thing for ourselves, and also the disappointments, because you learn. I kind of learned with my mistakes, and it wasn't easy for me to get here, and I just want to thank God for all the blessings He's given me, and kind of got me to be where I am today, and be able to do everything I do today, and learn with my mistakes and also with the good victories.
And with your preparation as being a soccer player and your preparation to play soccer, how does that translate in your preparation to get ready to ride bulls?
A sua preparação que você como jogador de futebol e a preparação que você tem que fazer para montar em touro, qual que é a transação, que você converte isso, como que é qual que é a simulação, a parte mais próxima disso que você acha que te favorece na montaria?
Acredito que é parecido, porque tudo que eu fazia no futebol eu ainda faço hoje. Todo o preparo físico que eu fazia antes eu ainda faço.
para poder me manter, e eu acho que isso me ajuda muito também, é muito importante para mim. Acho que isso é uma coisa que me ajuda muito e que acho que pode ser o meu diferencial. Um treinamento que eu vinha desde o futebol até aqui, acho que me ajudou muito, tanto a habilidade, a velocidade, reflexos. Eu acho que isso é uma coisa que é muito importante e é uma característica que eu tenho.
I think everything I did when I was playing soccer, I still do the exactly same exercise, and they're really similar to be, stay in good shape and do everything correctly. And I think what I have, the differential, just being a soccer player, you have to be, the agility, the reflex, and the strength and all that combined. I think that might be which kind of works on my behalf to be a great bull rider like I am.
All right, and that's if you missed out what happened there at the first, I guess what.
So what does it feel like to be part of?
Yeah, that's what I asked him. I want to know what it felt like to be part of. Team Brazil represent your country, and that's kind of where the first question went. Sometimes we flip the auto at the right time, sometimes we don't. That's just how we roll. But I got a good cattle story here for you, right quick, and then before we get into cattle talking about cow stuff. I got a good story here that we talked about from time or two as it transpired, and this one here is from a few months ago, but it's still a good story. And then after this story here, we're gonna dive into Ireland, cattle in Ireland. We're gonna talk about that. But here's what happened: an arrest was made in a $5.8 million fraud case. Wichita Falls man had been arrested on theft charges in a case that encompassed more than 10 counties in Texas and Oklahoma, 8,000 head of cattle, outstanding loans for $5.8 million. The arrest was a result of investigation led by Texas Southwestern Cattle Raiders Association Special Ranger John Bradshaw and Troy McKinney. This investigation began more than a year ago, back in March of 2017, after Bradshaw was contacted by representatives of First United Bank and Sanger. It was indicated that Howard Lee Hinkle of Wichita Falls has defrauded on several loans with past due balance of $5.8 million. When the bank officials acted on court order and gathered approximately 8,000 yearlings put up as collateral, they were unable to locate the animals. Apparently these 8,000 yearlings he got the money for were gone. Hinkle had told the bank that the cattle were on properties in 10 Texas and Oklahoma counties. Bradshaw enlisted the aid of fellow Texas Southwestern Cattle Raiders Association Special Rangers to help identify and interview numerous witnesses and collect vital evidence across the two states. As the investigation continued, the Special Rangers identified the properties and cattle listed in the loans, but found that Hinkle legitimately owned none of them. It was suspected that Hinkle deceived the bank by showing them fraudulent documentation and cattle that belonged to other individuals. So what he did, he went out and took pictures of somebody else's cows. So you know what? This is what I bought. Here they are. Somebody else's cows. I've heard that story before many years ago. Bradshaw presented the evidence to Denton County Grand Jury on June 14th, and an indictment was handed down following weeks for a first-degree felony charge of theft of more than $200,000. Hinkle was arrested without incident and booked into the Wichita County Jail. He was subsequently released on bond pending trial. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison along with fines and restitution. In raising cattle, it's common for credit to be extended for various purposes, including buying cattle, equipment, and property. When criminals defraud financial institutions, as alleged in this case, it can make credit harder to obtain and more expensive for other producers who rely on the same financial tools. Life in prison is a big price to pay. It's not worth it. That's what Bradshaw said. Don't steal cows, man. Come on, don't be stealing cows. You make it harder on everybody else when you go steal some cows. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get situated right here, and we're going to flip on. It's probably a really good about 40 minute conversation about about cattle and about Ireland and about how things I can't even say it, are different between the two countries. And because over here, we've had a lot of issues in the past couple of years, people trying to get traceability done and trace cattle, from birth to plate and things like that. And that's kind of something they do already over there, and it's pretty strict on how that stuff works, and it seems to work. But it's just interesting to learn how things are done in different places. I mean, the breeds of cattle are different. The pens are different. The sale barns, which over there they don't call it a sale barn or an auction, they call it a mart, and that's different. And so it's all different. It's interesting. And I will tell you this, when we spent I don't know, about a month over in Ireland there in September, we had a great time. Checked out a lot of the sales or marts. We drove by some marts over there and a bunch of different farms and things, and checked out some stuff. And I will tell you this: it did take me about a week of really listening to get to where I could the accent. I could understand the accent really good, and we ran across some folks that still spoke the old Irish, the old Irish language, and I had no clue what they were saying. But as far as the accent goes, it's a really neat accent. Of course, they probably think they think our accents may be neat too. I don't know, but it's some great information. Just listen to it, enjoy it, and find out what a 5th generation cattle rancher, Catherina, is going to tell us some stuff. And while she's talking, I'll flip some photos up of Catherina and of the cattle that her family raises there over in Ireland. So I really think you're going to enjoy this. All right, just remember this was a pre-recorded conversation, but it is a good one, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. So feast on this.
Okay, so Catherina, can you tell us a little bit about your farming background and what you do there on the farm in Ireland?
Yeah. So I'm based here in Kilkenny and County Mayo, so the west of Ireland. It's a pocket of the country that would be synonymous with high-end suckler beef production. I myself am a 5th-generation farmer involved in the running of a suckler and dry stock production enterprise with my father. So we predominantly farm commercial and pedigree all-black cattle, so we manage those under the Dairy Black Prefects. They're registered with the Breed Society here in Ireland. And Dad oversees the running of the farm on a full-time basis, but I myself have a full-time off-farm position as an agricultural journalist. So the fact that my company is located 20 minutes away from my home means that I can farm in the evening and at weekends as well. So typically when I'm not in the office, I'd be involved in the running of the farm. And then on Saturday and other days that I'd be off throughout the year, I would be at the local mart purchasing stock for our farm. So we predominantly purchase, feed and slaughter cull cows. And I've been doing that for the past number of years now. It is a long-standing family tradition. In terms of the actual all-black herd then, we established it in 2010. Prior to that, we were always suckler beef farmers, but we went in search of an alternative breed. We stumbled across all black, and we've been farming them ever since. So just in terms of the enterprise, we bring our cattle through to beef. So our young bulls are slaughtered from our quality assured farm from 12.5 to 16 months. And then the heifers, the inferior types, the ones that wouldn't be suitable for breeding, they'd also be slaughtered from 21 months upwards as well. We'd also sell a number of stock for pedigree breeding as well. Surplus heifers and a number of bulls would be sold to suckler and dairy herds as well then. So it's rather busy here at the moment. It is a family tradition, and we're happy with what we're doing. I suppose in Ireland at the moment there is a crisis with regards to suckler beef incomes, and so it's all about just looking at boosting farm gate profitability, and we're just always trying to strive to improve our system as every farmer is going forward.
Okay, and with the different breeds, how many different breeds of beef cattle do you have in Ireland?
So in Ireland we predominantly have the likes of Charlie, Shorthorn, Limousin, Simmental, Belgian Blue. We'd have the traditional breeds like Aberdeen Angus and Hereford then as well. And it also, there are conservation measures in place to preserve Ireland's own breeds. So that would be the likes of the Irish Moyle, the Dexter, Kerry and German. And then in terms of dairy, we'd have Friesian, Jersey, Flexi and Mount Belliard. Of course, there'd be other non-popular, other breeds that wouldn't be as popular as those, but they'd be mainly the ones that you would find scattered throughout the country.
Okay. And when you sell cattle, when I was there, I passed by a couple of the marts. You call them marts, and over here you call them a sale barn or an auction house. When you sell cattle, is there a lot of individual sales between ranchers that go on, or does everything go through a mart?
So just in terms of the actual mart, I suppose if I could just kind of bring it back possibly to the start when marts were actually established in Ireland. So they snowballed from what were known as traditional street fairs, whereby people walked from town to town throughout Ireland. The west of Ireland was always well known for these traditional fairs where people used to trade animals. And then it came to a stage whereby around the 1960s, when groups of like-minded farmers came together and established cooperatives, which are essentially these livestock mart cooperatives. And there are up to 90 different marts in Ireland at the moment. They'd be predominantly cattle, sheep, and some would have working dog sales. Others would be selling horses and ponies then as well. Just to draw your attention to the cattle, and it's very significant for the industry in the sense that over 1.8 million cattle passed through the gates of Mart in 2017. So that just shows the emphasis, the economic importance that they have in terms of the actual sale of them. Then just to explain the system. So in the majority of those 90 livestock marts that I mentioned there, they are pre-booked. So 4 to 5 days in advance of a sale, sellers will be booking in the cattle in advance. So that just makes sales a little bit more operational and a little bit more organised. So the cattle are arriving at the mart, they're arriving to the penning area, and then they arrive to the chute area, to the intake area. And this is when they get their lot numbers, and then they're moved from the chute area to the penning areas. Now, there has been a significant change to the traditional market experience in the last 10 months as a result of heightened insurance and premiums. So that has really changed our market experience in the sense of the way that we're actually viewing stock. So, for example, there are mart lockdown systems in place whereby in a lot of cases the yards are no longer accessible. Farmers can no longer gain access to the yards because of health and safety regulations. So what usually happens is that the mart stops intaking cattle for a period of up to 15 minutes, up to 30 minutes in some livestock marts, but typically 15 at the larger venues. And this will allow the potential purchasers to go through the yard and have a look at the different lots that are on offer on that particular sale day. And what happens is that there's no contact. They're trying to break the contact between a livestock and the farmers themselves. So the professionally trained and certified drovers are the one who's going to be overseeing the handling of the livestock throughout the sale. So just in terms when it comes up to the point of the sale, when that animal is going under the hammer, the animals are going from the penning area, they're going through the weighbridge system, then they're landing into the ring. So usually they're there for about 60 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes usually, depending on the auctioneer and how the trade is as well that day. And usually they're coming in lots of one. And sometimes in the marts down the south of the country where they'd have larger throughputs, sometimes you'd see anything up to 5 or 10 cattle coming in. And sometimes you might see a bunch of 3 or 4. With the exception of suckler parents, it's usually one lot that you will see. And it's going through the exact same process when that animal is leaving the ring, the drover, they're bringing them out and they're penning them in the area as well. And when the purchasers or the sellers want to return home with those cattle, the drover is overseeing the management of those then as well. Whereas things were quite different up until April of last year, but there has been a major lockdown in Ireland on health and safety. And I suppose apart from that pre-sale viewing period, there's also catwalk systems in place, and I know you have those over there. They wouldn't be as common in Ireland because those types of infrastructure developments would require quite a capital investment, and because livestock numbers are dropping in Ireland, it's not possible or feasible for some of the smaller livestock marts, coupled with insurance premiums, to install such facilities. But at the moment we have the mart lockdown system, and we have the catwalk system, which allows us to view some of the stock before and after the sale.
Okay, and is there any farms that buy and sell directly from each other?
Yeah, so that would be significant in the sense that another over in excess of 1 million livestock would be sold privately from farm to farm. But there would be a lot more. There would be a good few more cattle passing through livestock marts as well.
Now, what about? I had read something about traceability or tracing cattle from birth to packing or something like that.
Mm-hmm. It's a highly regulated. Yes, it's a highly regulated industry over here. The Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine oversees such a thing. There's tagging systems in place whereby farm to fork traceability. We can ensure farm to fork traceability as a result of this. You can follow the animal right from birth through the slaughter chain. A lot of people would say the system is so good you can follow them from straw to fork. That just shows the type of system that we have. And of course, Ireland has a reputation of being a grass-fed producing nation. With over 90% of our beef being exported, it's important that we have such measures in place. In recent years, I suppose on the sheep end of it as well, there has been electric identification tagging introduced, and there has also been discussions around the possibility of introducing such a measure for livestock. But there has been no further engagement on that matter. But we'll see how that unfolds as technology continues to take a firm footholding in the industry.
Okay, yeah, so that's something that it pops up over here every couple of years, the traceability, and they'll have different agriculture groups come up with ideas, and they have an idea from time to time, but nothing's really taken off. So they're kind of looking at how other countries are doing their traceability and just kind of getting ideas on how to do it, because it's one of the bigger issues we've had over here is people traceability. But then what we run into with a lot of the ranchers here is some of the old timers, or even some of the newer ones, don't want that traceability because they think the government's watching them, so they don't want anybody knowing. But I think it adds more value to your beef if it's able to be traced, to know exactly where it's come from, where it's been, than just having something you have no idea what's been done to it or where it's come from.
Absolutely.
So, as far as a journalist, and you're a journalist over there in Ireland, what type of articles do you write? What do you cover?
Yeah, so as I said, I've been part of this media firm, That's Farming, since October 2015. So predominantly I'm a features writer. So for example, I'm the one who typically, in layman's terms, listens to the life stories. So every day I'm talking to students, I'm doing graduate testimonials, I'm talking to, livestock mart managers, as I do mart reports as well, and I'm covering the daily news bulletins as well. So it provides a good combination. I'm lucky that I have such an intensive agricultural background, because it really does help with the day job. And of course, it is great when I'm talking to farmers and different people in the industry that I actually have my own experience to share. And if farmers say they're going through a difficult time, or they're faced with this challenge or red tape associated with this, that I can really relate to those farmers, because I'm in the office from 9 to 5, and then I'm switching to the wellies and the overalls then for the evening and the weekend. So farming and journalism, they're very similar in the sense that they're quite challenging, in terms of breaking and exclusive stories outside of office hours. I often find myself running from the calf and shed to the office to do a really good, juicy story. And, I think farming and journalism, they provide a good balance with each other. It is great to have a corporate or professional career, as well as having the farm as well. I really get the best of both worlds in that sense.
And when you're not busy covering a story, writing an article, or working cows on the farm, what do you do on your time off? If you want to sit back and just relax, take a little time off, what do you find yourself doing?
time off. Okay, well, definitely don't have any time off this time of year because we're hitting into peak calving season and our calves arriving every couple of days here. So we're checking them and feeding them and the whole job. And in terms of the summertime, I enjoy agricultural shows as well. The livestock market the weekend as well. Like, I'm obviously doing business there, but markets, they're great socially as well because it is a great way to meet people, like-minded, unlike-minded people, people of different ages and backgrounds, etc. So that is a good social outlet for myself as well. I was involved in a number of farming organisations up until a number of months ago, but due to farming and work commitments, I suppose I made it my New Year's resolution as well to get more of a work-life balance as well. So I also enjoy time, with my friends as well. I have a lot of farming and non-farming friends as well. And as I said, shows. And I'm an avid lover of country music as well. So a diver who also has to de-stress, from journalism and farming.
All right. We appreciate you visiting with us, Catherina, and as always, a great information that you gave to us, and we'll keep up with you on your social media sites. Oh man, I hope you guys enjoyed that, because that was some great information. If you have to, play it back again. Let's do it again. Good stuff that Catherina threw down for you. It's always fun to reach out and talk to folks from that do different things, because you may learn something, and it's all about learning, because you never stop learning about stuff. So you've always got plenty of time to learn, so do it. But yeah, check it out. Also check them out on That's Farming. You can also check out their farm over there in Ireland and see what they got going on, and it's good stuff. And with that, we got some more good stuff I'm going to bring to you here directly. I think I've got a news story maybe to throw in here. If I don't, then we'll just flip it on over to another interview with an author, Hollis, all the way from Georgia in the US of A. So let me see what I got for you right here, and I'll flip it back to you. Oh man, let me tell you a little story about somebody you need to know about, and her name is Johanna July right here. This is something you need to know. She was a black Seminole. She was a horse trainer who invented her own breaking techniques as a young woman when she worked for the Army. She's worked for the U.S. Army breaking horses. She would lead a horse out into the Rio Grande, swim up, grab the mane, and jump on. And when the horse got tired of swimming, he'd stop bucking. And so you ride him out into the pool and swim the buck out of him. It's something that we did as kids. We were riding colts. We'd do the same thing. We'd take them out into the pond and jump on and ride the buck out of them. And it's something that came up, she invented back working for the Army. And that's probably where the story had been passed down. That's probably how it came about for us to learn about it. But that's somebody you need to know about right there. That right there. Somebody in history you need to know, and that's Johanna July. So know about that. Also, let me tell you about another story that we have lottery stories all the time on here, talking about winning the lottery, and I play the lottery from time to time, but never any luck. I mean, I win every now and then. I win $2 or $4 or $10, but never the big $1 million jackpots or anything like that. But this guy right here won, and I think if I was to win, I think I would have to follow the route of this fella here in Jamaica, because he won the big lotto. And over in Texas where we are, you have the option to claim anonymously. Well, some places you don't have that option, so he didn't have the option to claim his lottery winnings anonymous. But he had a better idea. He decided to sign his away in a scream mask. And he did that because he didn't want anybody knowing who he was, especially his relatives. Because he knew what was going to happen. You know what's going to happen? You win some money, everybody's going to want a piece, aren't they? Everybody's going to want a little chunk of that money. So he wore the scream mask. Also, the scream mask reminds me of another show I watched, Eastbound and Down, if you know what I'm talking about. When he says, can I wear the scream mask? And yeah, so anyway, that's how you collect the lottery right there. You collect it that way. But what else we're going to collect is books, and up next is author Hollis McCollum. Yep.
Okay, we did say we had another author we're going to talk to, and that we do, and right here on the line with us is Hollis, all the way from Georgia. So you are I guess what they would call a Navy brat who grew up in the military, kind of traveling the world, as they say.
I did. I'm a lucky kid, or at least I feel I'm a lucky kid. I personally enjoyed it. I know some people don't enjoy traveling around so much and having to pick up and move every 2 years, but I loved it. I had a great childhood, and I always had a brother and a sister to be my friends along the way.
And you traveled to over 25 different countries.
Yes, so, I lost count around 25, but but something like that.
That's enough. That's enough countries. Now, out of all those countries, you had to have a favorite of all those you traveled to.
Oh goodness, I do, but I can't just pick one. I would say probably I really love Japan, and I really love the UK and Egypt. Honestly, I loved Egypt. Those countries kind of stand out for me.
So, of all your ancient culture studies, what's the most fascinating that you've run across?
Oh, goodness. Well, and my degree is in world history with a specialization in ancient culture. So, I started young, and then I perpetuated it in my education. One of the most fascinating things that I think people don't realize about a lot of ancient cultures, and when I say ancient, I'm talking 5,000 to 10,000 years ago. I'm talking the ancient Etruscans, the ancient Spartans, that kind of culture. That there was gender equality. That people, people don't think about that. You think ancient world and you think patriarchal society, but honestly, a lot of ancient cultures, while men and women had their roles, it was not one gender was in charge over the other. And I think in today's society, with all of our discussions on gender and everything, it's not something that we realize that they did that thousands of years ago, and then we morphed into the inequality of it. But so many ancient cultures, they were kind to each other. They just didn't have a lot of the modern social hang-ups that we have now, and would, in a lot of people's eyes, be considered more socially advanced then than we are now, which is fascinating to me. A lot of the other stuff is the technology. You think about things thousands of years ago, and you're like, oh, they were in the dark ages then, and not really. The ancient Etruscans. My specialization was in the Etruscans, so I'm going to focus mostly on them. They're my favorite. But the ancient Etruscans actually had devised a way. They had central cooling and heating. Not in the mechanical or electrical sense that we have it today, but they actually figured out how to heat and cool their cities in the ancient 5,000 years ago. They had ways where they would run hot water and cold water, depending on what you wanted to do, in channels under, in the floors. And then you would have, that having the cool water in the summer or the hot water in the winter would warm up your home. And you would have heated floors, and you would have all these things. And so they actually had central heating and air, in a sense. They did a lot of things that we just don't realize, that their technology was extremely advanced, and we don't, they actually had a lot of what we would consider to be modern conveniences. When the actual Dark Ages came, a lot of the medieval era, usually starting around, in my opinion, around the year 700 or 800, around the fall of Rome. So let's say around 500 AD. That's when you really start to lose that technology where people, unfortunately, and this is a knock on religion, but people became so entrenched with religion that they forgot about science, and they just lost so much of that ancient knowledge. And then they truly did go into the dark ages as far as living standards and hygiene were concerned. And we were there for hundreds of years, or 1,000, and then started to get back into science and realize, we can have a better life, and now we do. But that, to me, is the social aspects of that are just so fascinating to me, and that's what I think is most interesting about ancient cultures and what people might not think about is, we've done that. We're just getting back into it.
I've got a theory. Say the Indians drew these spaceships and say that there's aliens in these old times. My theory on this is, at some point in the future, when we invent time travel and we go back to study the ancient times, that's what they're seeing.
Ooh, I like that theory.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's plausible. We're not there yet, but we all know we're working on time travel.
Right.
Everybody knows that scientists have been trying to crack that for at least 100 years.
And that's my thought. That's my thought on that. That every time you see, they go back in the ancient, they drew these spaceship-looking things or these flying saucer-looking things. Well, maybe in the future, once we invent time travel, and then we're just going back to study how everything happened. They're seeing us.
I could get on board with that. I would see that as a plausible theory because, obviously we don't know. It could happen. There are a lot of things that we thought were impossible even 10 years ago, and here we are.
You never know. But what you know is a lot of languages. You speak a lot of different languages.
I am only completely fluent in one.
Now, of all these languages, which one? What's the hardest? What's the hardest language to try to?
Honestly, I would say I'm tempted to give it to Chinese because Chinese, as far as pronunciation is concerned, is definitely the most difficult. It's very difficult to learn how to pronounce Chinese correctly because you can have the same word 4 different ways, and it means 4 different things. Ma. Ma, if I say ma evenly, that's like mother. If I say ma, that means I'm scolding you. And ma is a question. And it's all the same sound, but it's with a different intonation. And that's very difficult. Chinese also, I love it. It's for all its pronunciation difficulties, and of course learning the characters is hard, but there is only one tense. In English we have actually 12 different tenses. People think it's 3. We have 12 different tenses. In Chinese, absolutely everything they say, absolutely everything they write is in the present simple tense. They don't even have plural. If you want to say, you can say a lot. You wouldn't say a lot of pears. You would say a lot pair. Everything's singular. Once you get the pronunciation down, it's actually really easy because grammatically everything is exactly the same. And that's lovely. Once you get over pronunciation, Chinese is actually not that difficult. Japanese, I would say, is probably in the long run the most difficult because in Japanese, you have a masculine, feminine, neutral for just about everything you say. And then you have formal and informal, and you have extremely casual, and depending on the region of Japan, you would say a totally different word, possibly. Pronunciation is not very difficult. Their grammar is very intense. Technically, I would say it is the most difficult one to learn. Of the ones that I speak, and I'm not fluent in anything but English, to be totally honest, but as a good tourist, and of the ones that I speak, or what I like to say as a good tourist, Japanese is probably the most technically difficult one to speak correctly.
Now you've got a book out called "To Save the World."
Yep, To Save a World. The title is kind of trying to get people to, you remember the old movie To Catch a Thief? I was trying to do a little psychological sounds familiar so people will hopefully remember it thing with the title there. And they do save the world. Yeah, it's a fantasy adventure novel that I am very proud of, and it takes place on a fantasy world, nothing to do with Earth whatsoever. So I created a whole world, and the world that I created is in cataclysm. It's in chaos. Basically, in my fantasy world, all of the gods had this thing called the Heavenly Wars. And I'm not spoiling anything. I tell you this in the first chapter. But they had this thing in the Heavenly Wars, and the gods were waging war on each other, and they basically killed each other off. So you have a planet suddenly that is completely ungoverned. There are no forces guiding the seasons, no forces doing anything to, manage the planet, if you will. So you have seasons that make no sense. Snow in the middle of summer one morning, and then in the afternoon it's boiling heat, even though it was snowing a couple hours ago. And you have mountain ranges popping up overnight, and forests, entire forests just dying. All of a sudden the whole forest dead, all the trees die. Crazy. And of course, with the planet dying, that means all the people who live there are dying because they can't grow crops appropriately. They can't really survive. And a few of the characters set out to initially they just set out to find this ancient artifact that has all this magic in it. That they're just trying to save their community. At first their scope isn't so large to think I'm going to save the world, but they go forth and they're like, if I can just do something to help. And then through searching for that magical object, they of course run into a wizard. It's always a wizard. and he basically tells them, this is what you guys were supposed to find me. You've got bigger fish to fry. To put it very casually, you've got to do this. You've got to save the world. Without you, it's not going to happen. So they have to go forth and basically they go on this quest. And I'm not going to reveal how, but they go on a quest to resurrect two gods, a good god and an evil god, so that there's balance. And they to resurrect both of these old gods, so that then they can govern the planet and balance can be restored. A lot of personal growth along the way. The characters are all they all kind of come from different walks of life. They all have their own hang-ups and troubles, and they all have this journey of self-growth and self-awareness that they go through while they're on this quest to figure out who they are. So it's also a personal, inner journey story.
All right. So if anybody's looking for this book or looking for you, what's the best place to send them to?
Honestly, Amazon.com is probably the most convenient one. To Save a World, and the cover is a watercolor relief map. Just for visual, I actually designed the cover myself as well. But yeah, it's Amazon.com, and go to books obviously, and you can get it on ebook for your Kindle or tablet or however, or you can get it in paperback. Just type in To Save a World, or you can type in my author name, Hollis J.O. McCollum. BarnesandNoble.com also carries it. Or you can walk into a Barnes & Noble and just tell them you want to order the book, and they can order it for you if you don't want to go online.
Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy author day to visit with us and let us know about what you do and your book.
Well, thank you so much, Pepper. I enjoyed chatting with you, and thank you for letting me come on and talk about things.
All right, that's a great deal. Check out that book. Check it out. Go look at that book. Pull it up, read it, check it out, and see what's going on in there. There's a lot of good stuff on there. It's really tough when you have these conversations, because those of you that watch a lot of episodes, the interviews is not really what we do. It's more of a conversation, and we have good conversation with our guest. And sometimes it's hard to fit time constraints, when you got a 30, 40-minute conversation about something and you got to chop it up in about 10, 15 minutes. So it's difficult, but it's good stuff. Go check that book out and see what happens. Oh, man. It's always good stuff. I know a lot of you folks are like, what is going on? This is not what we're used to. It's just, it's different. We're working on a few things. We're changing a few things up, and that's why it's a little different. We didn't have any music. Any music. This episode didn't have any tunes or any good music, anything like that. We're in the flipping process right now, flipping some stuff around and doing a few different things different. So that's kind of why it is what it is and how it's rolling and strolling like it is. But with that, be sure that you check these folks out. These are the folks that make it possible for you to catch all these episodes. And this is why you're able to enjoy these episodes for free. This is why they're free. As long as you got internet, you can catch us. I mean, there's not anywhere you can't catch us, and it's free. And we try to keep it that way. We want to keep it that way for the folks. I know there's a lot of people out there that want you to pay to watch their stuff, and if I'm able to throw it out to you guys for a great price to where it's free, then that way it's always worth every penny. So you can't ever complain to me about how bad it is because you didn't pay for it, right? Isn't that the way it goes? Master Hat of Texas, that's the hat I wear. That's all my hats. Be sure you grab you one of those, Master Hatters of Texas. Ask for them by name. They're also the hats on the show. Oh, crap. What was that show? I forgot the show. Dang it. What was that show called? That's the hats. That's the only hats they wear. West, what was it? Wild West or West? I don't know. Some new show about robots in the Wild West. Well, that's their hats. Anyway, get this book, read about it, looking through this book, and you will find a story about me in there. Enjoy that. Rodeo Clothing Company, these shirts. Rodeo Clothing Company, part of House of Lords Clothing. Check it out. The Wrangler, you can text the Wrangler to 22828. Get started. You can read the Wrangler online each and every month. There you go. TheWrangler.com. Check it out. Read it. There's always something going on there. All these different magazines, all different publications, all different products and things. And if you get confused, all you got to do is go to pepperstewart.com. You can find everything you're looking for. Everything you're looking for is at pepperstewart.com. Matter of fact, you can even order steaks there. You can order steaks. You don't like steaks? You can order vegetables. Fresh from the farm, right to your door. You can get steaks to your door. You can get farm fresh vegetables to your door. You can even order t-shirts. If you want to get Pepper Stewart t-shirts, they're there too. Just go to pepperstewart.com, look around. If you're looking for the latest livestock reports, they're there too. Everything is there. All you have to do is click it, go to it. Other than that, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you did. If you don't, well, you done wasted your time. Check us out. We always got some stuff going on. Like I say, we're in doing little things different right now, flipping some scripting and doing some stuff. So anyway, you never know what you're going to find out. Possibly next episode we'll roll to you guys after the American. Be sure and get tickets to the American. We gave those away already. We're going to do some more giveaways, possibly, maybe. So go to pepperstewart.com. Why not?